Hey everybody, how you guys doing? Alright, before we get started, let's just warm up. So let me ask you, how many ends does this piece of rope have? Yeah? It's got 2 ends. Can it have 4 ends? Well, possibly. If we take these 2 ends, bring it to the top, we grab the center of the rope at the bottom, bring it up to the center, and we then give it a good snip. Now we have 4 ends. So we've got 1 end on the top there. There we go. Another end there. So now we've got a rope. Oh, we've got a rope. We've got 2 ropes. It's got 4 ends. So it doesn't really have 4 ends. It's 2 ropes. Of course, if we don't like it, we can always just maybe just start this all from over again. So let's just start this all from over. So how many ends does this rope have? Well, it's got 2. So have you seen a rope without any ends? Yeah, possibly. If we bring it over like that and we squeeze the ends out just like that, you grab the ends and you just pop it off. We take the ends. We don't need the ends anymore. And now we've got a rope without any ends. Of course, we can always just maybe start this one from over again by taking our scissors and just giving it another snip. And now we have back to where we were. Alright guys, stay with me. We're going to go into our object lesson right now. Hey everybody. Did you know that there are many in our society and in the world that are very good at making comparisons? In fact, this has become so problematic that people's identities, in other words, how they see themselves, becomes attached to how other people see them, how they compared with other people. Can you see how this can become a problem? Let me demonstrate in today's object lesson using a few pieces of rope. For example, let's say this piece of rope helps us think of someone that perhaps the world sees as, well, let's just say average. They're doing okay in school, they have some friends, maybe they read the Bible sometimes, perhaps they're okay in sports, they're just normal is how society would define them. And then we have someone that appears to be what the world would say gifted. They very good in sports or arts or perhaps even academics. They're very popular. Maybe they're even funny. They have lots of friends and followers on Facebook or Instagram. And they just seem superior. You know what I'm talking about? And then lastly, we find something that the world would define as, well, compared to the others, not so gifted. They seem to struggle to socialize or make friends. They may not be good at any sports, and even if they're very nice and helpful and friendly and kind, they still judge by the world's standard as being inferior and not superior. But here's something to watch. Watch what happens when I bring the short piece to the top, and I take the middle piece and I bring that to the top as well. And I actually even bring the long piece and I bring it right up to the top. Can you see what happens when I do it with all 3 pieces? They're all the same. So everything from our fingers up would appear to be no different. They all look the same from God's point of view looking down. This is how you would see us the same, regardless of what the world is telling us. You see, from down here, we can see the differences. We can see the long piece, we can see the middle piece, and we can't even see the short piece. But from God's perspective, He doesn't even see any differences. You see, we don't even have different. We just have 3 pieces exactly the same length. So we have what we have here, just the 1 piece of rope exactly the same length. We have the other piece. And then we have a 3rd piece, all 3 equal lengths of rope. So if you're ready to fulfill your purpose and you're calling, God just needs a willing heart, and He's ready. And just like Jesus prayed in John 15:20, that we would be one just as He was one. We'll just have 1 piece of rope. I hope you guys enjoyed this object lesson. In a moment, we're going to turn to the Bible and see what it has to say about this very important topic. So, stay with me, guys. Hey, everybody. You know, this is such an important lesson, and there's so much to be taught on this. I don't have a lot of time, so I'm going to jump right in. Now, growing up, or in varsity, or even as an adult, 3 things I want to suggest to you that you'll have to navigate or work out in life. 3 important things. Number 1 is identity, number 2 is purity, and number 3 is purpose. Identity answers the question, who am I? Purity relates to how you will live, your behavior, your values, and your morals, etc. And your purpose will answer the question, what you will live for. What are you going to do with your life? The impact you will have, your calling. However, everything hinges on how you deal with number 1, identity. And we often get this wrong. People want to find their purpose without fully understanding their identity. Then they mistakenly link what they do to their purpose, and they find their identity in what they do. But as always, Jesus led the way here. Can you remember when Jesus first started his ministry? A voice from heaven cried out and affirmed his identity. Remember? This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Identity confirmed. The next step, into the wilderness to be tested, and so sure of his identity that he could not be swayed by the luxuries or the trappings that was offered to him, the trappings of the world. Lastly, after that, his ministry, his purpose started, and now 2,000 years later, billions have and are still following him. So why is identity a struggle? Well, because for the most part, our identity is, say, forced upon us. We take on the identity of our upbringing, what our parents may or may not have taught us, or our friends, or social media, or teachers, or TV. And this can be very confusing as we get constantly bombarded with what the ideal identity should be in this world. This can also be very dangerous. Why? Because how you identify yourself will ultimately determine how you will approach life. And when you struggle with identity, you will always focus more on what other people are doing and achieving more than who you should be becoming. For example, if you identify yourself by what you do, then you will always have to be one step ahead of the game by trying to do more and achieve more to validate your identity. If you identify yourself by what others say, if your identity is tied to what others say about you, think about you, or even treat you, you'll always direct your actions and thoughts and even your values to try and please others. This is actually very common and unhealthy behavior, especially at schools and varsity. And let's say if you identify yourself on the things you own, like the clothes you wear, then guess what? You will constantly have to work harder and strive more to buy or own and more and new things to affirm and validate your identity and your self-worth based on your possessions. Now, these things are not bad in and of themselves. It's good to have goals and a vision to work towards, but you are not defined by achieving them. Your identity is rooted so much in such deeper soil. So what is the good news? Well, this is it. As a born-again Christian, when you accept Jesus, the old identity has passed away and all things have become new. You're given a new identity which sets you free from this bondage of the old identity, this old identity that keeps you, and all you have to do is just release the baggage that just weighs you down. To conclude, so who are you? First, let me tell you who you are not. You are not defined by your past mistakes. You are not defined by your past. You are not defined by what you have or what you have not achieved. You're definitely not defined by how popular you are or where you live or what you own. So who are you? Well, let me tell you, you are a brand new creation in Christ. You are chosen. You are holy, blameless, redeemed, delivered, victorious, blessed. You are the son and the daughter of the Most High. You are a masterpiece. You are fearfully and wonderfully made in the image of the Creator. And you are unconditionally loved by the Creator of all things. Guys, see yourself as Christ sees you and remind yourself daily of who and whose you are, and you will be a leader for Christ and His kingdom, and you will have the most amazing life that He has planned and mapped out just for you. Bless you guys.
Thank you for watching.